Hello everyone! This is LoopyLiss and welcome back to Bombergrounds, where we are going to be talking about the first big patch since release. Yes, we are now in version 0.8.6. If you want to check them out yourself while I read them through and explain a couple of things, feel free to click the link in the description below to see the full list. So let's read what is on the article for the patch. This patch mostly fixes bugs and problems with the game that you reported during the past 2 weeks of play. We take these bugs seriously and we want to fix them before adding more content. We will address new content in the next patch. So that's exciting, we should be getting some more new content for the game soon. The next thing they say is, firstly, we want to thank everyone that has reported bugs in our Discord channel. Secondly, we've had a few setbacks that have delayed this patch that have been outside of our control. So we want to thank you deeply for supporting us and our development. Speaking of Discord, if you haven't joined the Discord yet, I do recommend jumping in that down below in the description. It is very, very worth it because you will get the updates, the announcements. Say if you can't update the game, there might be a reason why there. You might be able to look in the announcements and then your answers will be right there and then you'll be able to read them and you'll be like, oh, that's why I can't do something. And you'll be all up to date with it. So I highly recommend jumping in the Discord. So the first thing on the list, and one of the biggest things that a lot of you might be really happy with, is that they have released experimental Mac support for this version. That means that you should be able to play on Mac at this point, so that's exciting. The next big thing in this patch is there are 2 new added regions. So we now have support for Southeast Asia and South America. So if you were having lag in those regions before, if you live in that area, then that should be solved as long as you're queuing for one of those regions. Also, while you are now searching for a game, the region you are queuing towards is now shown in the queuing status. So that basically means when it's listed as searching for game, right next to it you should be able to see what region you're connecting to. So that's very handy for some of us that might be unsure of what actual region we're going for, but you can also change that in the settings if you're not happy with the region that you're currently connecting to. Balance changes. Now I am very, very happy with these changes right here. So the first change for balance is the minimum amount of stars that can drop from a dead player is raised to 3. That means that no more just picking up 1 star from a dead guy. There will be at least 3 there waiting for you. The next change is the maximum distance to pick up an item has been lowered and stabilized a bit. So if you found that you were racing towards an item and someone else was also racing towards it, and you feel like you should have got it before them, that might be a bit more stabilized now, a bit more balanced, and you'll see it be shown a little bit more accurately now. So that is a very nice change. And now we have game server changes. Now a lot of these are just bug fixes, but they are crucial bug fixes and I'm very excited about these. The first one, bombs falling into water no longer disappears on the client but explodes on the server, invisible bombs bug. You remember those times where you got blown up randomly? Yeah, that was a water bug. That was the water. The bomb would go in the water and then all of a sudden it would explode while under there. So that should be solved now as well. Very, very happy about that. And there was also the case of bombs falling into wall objects. That will no longer happen. That was another invisible bombs bug as well. And double items from crates is now resolved. Now I didn't come across this, but some of you might have. It should now give the appropriate amount of items. Coins not being received after level 50 should also be fixed. And being able to easily clip through wall blocks that are placed in a certain manner. So that part would be at the end game. Say in the left hand top corner, you might have noticed people be able to squeeze through those top 2 blocks that are diagonal to each other. Yeah, that should not happen anymore, so that is very good because you'd have people dodging around there. They'd be dodging your bombs as you keep going through and eventually you just have to try and block them in, which is quite tricky. So I'm very happy that that's gone. 2 changes for stability as well. The fixed disconnect loop when reconnecting bug has been solved. And dynamic region support has been added. So now we have a big list of client changes to go through. Firstly, they have lowered texture resolution a little bit more, so that is handy, and they've also lowered the resolution for low to mid settings. Your game should look worse in these settings, but perform better FPS wise. The recent friends list is now overwritten every time a new game ends, so it does not store all players in a huge list. So that would be the recent players, the ones that you've just recently played with, obviously. That's a bit silly for me to say. Recent players, recently played with. Yes, smart one, Liz. I'm very, very smart with words today. But yeah, basically that won't be a huge list anymore. It will overwrite now, so that is nice. They've also added an FPS/latency setting to be able to diagnose ping/FPS while playing. So if you want to see how smooth things are, then you can check through that setting. The game starting bug, but a game never starts, should be fixed at this point as well. Very, very handy indeed. And now controls. This is another big one. Very, very handy stuff. They've added a fixed joystick setting for mobile. Now, I know a lot of people in Discord were talking about this and how the joystick was a bit annoying for them. I didn't personally have any issues with that, but I'm glad that that's been fixed for those that did. I probably will give that a go, though. You never know, I might actually win a bit more than I do now. So I'll give that a go on mobile. They've also added keybind options for PC and Mac. So if you do not like the current keybinds, then you can now change them. At this stage, when you're loading into a game, it still will show the usual default keybinds in the right-hand bottom corner. That is for beginning players that have not altered their keybinds, and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to keep it that way just for ease of mind for the beginners. Now, this is another one I was looking forward to. Auto login with Gigantic Duck ID. It is now possible to log in automatically after using a Gigantic Duck ID. It will be saved for as long as you don't log into another account, like a guest account or another Gigantic Duck ID. So that is very handy for mobile players in particular. I know a lot of us were having that issue where you'd have to continuously log back in. That is no longer a thing. As long as you stay logged in on that Gigantic Duck ID, you will stay like that. Even if you switch apps, you close the app, you relaunch it, you will stay logged in. So I am very, very pleased with that and very excited about it as well. I don't need to copy and paste my email each time now, so I can get into games quicker and I can switch apps without even worrying about it. Now this one is great for those of us that are going onto new devices for the first time. You can now click login with Gigantic Duck ID instead of having to create a new username. This is very handy for those of us that are switching devices to a different one that we haven't played Bombergrounds on yet. Just simply enter in your ID and you are good to play. And now we have some fixes for the UI. Some lobby UI parts were showing while in game. Not something that I encountered, but if you did encounter it, then that will be gone. Opening chests should now update the status of the item you got accordingly. So the check mark should be there straight away, that's nice. There have been fixes to profile stats not scaling properly, as well as the time played not showing the correct time. They fixed the profile screen player name scaling bug, fixed login in status when picking a wrong or an available name on registration, which is a visual bug. They've extended the hit area for exit and settings buttons. Now that's something that'll help me because I found it a little bit difficult to click the exit button. So if you had trouble with that as well, then that should help with that. They've also added a Discord and Twitter button to the homepage of Bombergrounds when you first log in. So if you haven't joined and followed the Discord and Twitter yet, I highly recommend you do so, especially the Discord. It's a great community on there. We'll be able to chat together, talk about the game, you can give game suggestions, there's a channel for that. So I highly recommend jumping in on there. They fixed the game over screen stats bug, so that was when things were showing you as level 50 with the time 11:11. And also another 11 as well. They was all 11s really, so that is no longer a thing. They fixed the link account button not animating sometimes, so we probably don't see that if we've already got linked to a Gigantic Duck ID, but for those that haven't, then you might have noticed that. They've added text feedback about current region queue. They fixed the Steam shop page displaying wrong currency in some countries, so that's a little bit less confusion for some. They've updated region settings drop-down, and they've updated resolution settings to use user screen on desktop. Oh, and one extra little thing, they've also fixed the picnic bear helmet texture. If you own that cosmetic, then you probably would have noticed that at the back of your head, there would have been like a little poke through of your actual head. So not ideal, not supposed to happen, So that has been fixed as well, so that is lovely. And there's also been some changes for content creators. You can now hide the chat, hide names, and block friend requests. So that'll be a very handy thing for our content creators out there and our streamers as well. I'm sure you'll all make great use of those settings. And that is all the changes for this patch. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful for me talking through the actual patch notes, feel free to leave a like on the video and let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more content on Bombergrounds, feel free to subscribe as well if you haven't already. Because, you know, that is also awesome, and you will be very awesome for doing that, and I will think you are awesome. And I have said awesome way too many times, so I better stop saying awesome. Oh gosh, I'm in a little bit of a weird mood today, guys. But yes, I think that's where we'll end the video today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye bye.